It looks like we're just waiting on Betty. I don't see Betty on yet. And Bob, I still don't think we hear you. Is the volume up on your microphone? Okay, well, I think we have a quorum because we have Bob, Amy, Jim, David, and Reggie on. I don't see Betty Mudd, but we can go ahead and get started. Bob, we still can't hear you.
Could Bob call in the phone number? Is there not a phone number call in?
There is a phone number to call in. Bob, can you try calling in on the phone number? Bob, can you hear me? We can't hear you. Sorry, everyone, for the delay. Good morning, Betty. Let's see here. Do we have Bob's phone number? Can we try to call him in, Craig?
If he can put his phone number in the chat, I can try that.
Or if we have it in email, so let me see, I might have it. I don't want to put that out for everyone to see.
No, I don't blame you.
I think I have it. Craig, I'm sending you an email now.
Okay, standing by.
Hopefully that's the right one.
We'll find out soon enough.
I can't come to the phone right now.
Oh, Bob, are you on?
And have a good day.
Oh.
At the tone, please record your message. When you've finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more.
Okay. I guess this is not working. Amy, would you mind getting us started? I don't want to delay anyone much longer.
Not a problem. I can do that.
Thank
Want to go
you.
ahead and call to order the meeting. This meeting of the DRB will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag, the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, and I've lost my place, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Sorry about that. The first item on our agenda is the approval of the minutes from the September 8th meeting. I looked through them. I didn't see any changes or anything that needed to be made. Any comments?
Can you hear me now?
Yep, there he goes.
Yes, we can hear you now, Bob. Thank you.
Okay. I just went all the way to the beginning. Okay, Amy, you're going to conduct the meeting?
No, I will gladly hand it over to you if you would like. We've already done the pledge. We were literally just doing the minutes from September 8th.
Well, You know, I came in late last night. I didn't look at this at all, except the minutes. I looked at the minutes. So I think somebody else who got prepared should conduct the meeting.
Not a problem. Any comments on the meeting, on the minutes? Anybody see any changes?
No, the minutes looked okay to me.
Okay. Then I move to approve the minutes as presented. All those in favor?
I second.
Those opposed? Okay, then the minutes are approved as presented. All right, let me get myself set back up here. The next item on our agenda begins with Chesapeake Street.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good, perfect. For the record, my name is Laura Lyon, I'm Planner 2 with La Plata Town Hall. The applicant is seeking design review board approval today for a common sign plan to replace the existing master sign plan at 9375 all the way to 9405 Chesapeake Street. The site is located on the south side of Crain Highway across from the Shining Willow Way and the Crain Highway intersection. The site is approximately 3.3 acres. It is zoned commercial highway and it has various tenants. The applicant wishes to rebrand their building and to allow their clients to find businesses with minimal confusion. They're proposing a common sign plan as required by the town code for commercial businesses that has 3 or more tenants. With a common sign plan, I'm sorry? Someone say something? With a common sign plan, there's a demonstration of consistency that has to have at least 4 of the following components: materials, location of each sign on the building, sign proportions, color scheme, lighting, lettering, or graphic style. This common sign plan has materials, color scheme, lighting, and lettering. Under the applicant's proposed sign plan, the temporary signage shall be permitted with the owner approval. All non-compliant signs will be brought into compliance, as well as the amount and the location of on-premise signage will be allocated to each tenant under the plan. As of today, all the existing signs are in compliance with this new common sign plan. The applicant has also stated that any non-compliant signs will be brought into compliance. Again, as of today, they're all in compliance. The common sign plan proposal was found to be in compliance with the town sign code 191-70 and all applicable sections in accordance with the community design guidelines. Staff recommends approval of the application as presented. The applicant is coming before you all today because there are a few signs, excuse me, that there's a few new tenants and a few signs that are not allowed under the previous master sign plan. So they're trying to be more logo and trademark friendly. So they basically kept the previous master sign plan, but they added the snippet of logo and trademark to be a little bit more user friendly. So that's why we are here today.
Okay.
Do you agree with
Questions?
them that they are?
I'm sorry?
Do you agree with the applicant that they are more in compliance with the new plan? The new
Yes.
code?
Yes.
Okay, good.
It looked fine to me. I didn't see anything to cause concern. Anybody, any other comments?
And the town agrees with that too.
Yeah.
Okay, well then I move to approve the amended sign arrangement as presented.
I'll second that.
Okay, those in favor?
Those in-
I'm not running.
That's okay. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Aye.
Okay. Then this project is approved.
Thank you.
All right. You're welcome. All right. The next item on our agenda is 6670 Crain Highway, the Exxon station.
All right, that's me again. The applicant is seeking design review board approval for the refacing of the existing monument sign. Site is located at the northeast corner of the intersection of Crain Highway and Charles Street. It's 1.03 acres. It's currently a gas station and it's going to remain a gas station. We have seen this in 2017 for the site signage at the gas pumps. We've seen it at 2011 for the received approval of the signage of complete signage. And then we've seen it in 1992 for a special exception for the approval of the gas station. The proposed monument sign refacing will be the exact same. The color scheme will be red, white, blue, and green to coordinate with the corporate branding colors of the Exxon. The layout is the only thing that will change. The layout will be reversed on the signage. That is the only change. The company logos and everything else will be there and be left for wayfinding and site navigation. The sign is and will remain illuminated with a steady white light. The proposed monument sign refacing is in compliance with the DRB guidelines, Chapter 191 of the Town Code, and the staff recommends approval as presented as well.
Okay, thank you. Any comments, questions, or concerns from members of the board?
Looks pretty simplistic. Just changing
Yeah.
one side to the other side.
Looks good to me.
Okay. Then I motion to approve this project as presented.
I second it.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay. This has been approved.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Next on our agenda is 6640 Crain Highway, which is Truist.
Okay. The applicant is seeking DRB approval for refacing the existing signs as the bank is officially transitioned to a new name. The site is located at 6640 Crain Highway on the northbound side of Crain Highway, directly after the Route 6 and Crain Highway intersection, pretty much right next to the Exxon we were just discussing. The site is 0.69 acres, commercial highway, it's a bank. We've seen this multiple times in the past year or so. They came before us for a dumpster, the ATM upgrades. They came before us previously for temporary signage, essentially for the refacing. The BB&T has been rebranded. At one point they were BB&T, they were SunTrust, now they were BB&T, they were Truist. Today they're coming before us today because they are officially rebranded to Truist. The applicant is proposing to reface the 3 existing signs with their new trademark logo. The colors will be purple, white, and gray using all aluminum materials. They will be fastened in all existing mounts. And the sign update and refacing follows all town zoning requirements and is approvable in accordance with the community design guidelines and the commercial highway zone. Staff recommends approval as presented.
Thank you. Any questions, comments from the board?
I have one quick question. In the diagram picture we have here in the submission, it looks to me like the sign is black. You said it'd be purple. Is just colors not matching up in here? What I'm looking at?
I think that's my printer. I'm sorry.
Okay, I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, it's so we didn't want to give it the very like lavender purpley theme, like the bottom you can see of the I think the brand or something.
Right.
But it is a darker purple, yes.
All right, thank you.
Okay. I think it's pretty straightforward, replacing what's there with the new name. So I'm going to move to approve this project as presented.
I'll second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Okay. This project has been approved.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is 417 Charles Street, the Market.
Okay. The applicant is proposing a new sign, which will include refacing of the existing 24 square foot attached sign and 48 detached sign to the new tenant, the Charles. The site is located at East Charles Street, Route 6, just west of the intersection at South Maple Avenue and Charles Street. The applicant is coming before the DRB to request approval for the additional sign to be added to the building. The Charles is the property's sole tenant, therefore the property does not require a common sign plan. The additional sign proposed is a new attached wall sign over the front entrance of the market. This is located on the front right side of the building. The sign will utilize the black and white color scheme of the primary structure and match the existing entrance sign. The attached sign is made of plastic and it's 3 by 7 feet in total for a 21 square foot attached sign, and this attached sign will be also internally illuminated. The new sign is compatible with the primary structure's black and white color scheme. The attached sign will be located centrally on the building between the market main entrance and the parking lot. The sign is in compliance with the community design guidelines and the central business zone, and it will utilize the same black and white color scheme. Therefore, we think it's very cohesive. The staff recommends approval as presented.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions from the board, comments?
No, it looks very nice.
I'm okay with it.
Okay. Then I'll move to approve this project as presented.
I'll second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Okay. This project has been approved.
Thank you.
Okay. Next up is 100 Kent Avenue. It's the shed.
All right. Property is located at 200 Baltimore Street at the Charles County Government Building. They're proposing for one prefab shed to be located at the existing crime lab storage yard. The applicant is requesting approval of a 4x4 prefabricated shed that you do see pictured here, located within the crime lab building, or with the crime lab storage lot. The shed will have one entrance, one exit, and no windows. The purpose of the shed is to store crime lab equipment. The shed will be placed in the existing fenced-in courtyard near the rear of the crime lab building. The shed will be screened from public view and will not be accessible to the public. Due to the sensitive material inside, it is best and recommended that the shed be completely shielded from public view. The shed will have vinyl siding, be brown in color, and complement the existing building. It will have a low profile and help the shed to remain unseen. To minimize the impact, the roof gable will be of 5.12 pitch. Due to the nature of the building and its contents, there will not be any pedestrian access. The location of the building will be easily accessed by the IT County employees when it is needed, and it will not hinder any current visible building facades. The current landscaping will not be hindered, as this shed will be placed on a concrete slab to prevent rapid environmental damage, and it will be anchored. The proposed shed is in compliance with the town code and the CB community design guidelines, and the staff recommends approval as presented.
Okay, thank you. Comments from the board?
Despite your describing this as having no windows, one illustration and one photo show windows. Is that right?
Yes, I think that I was mistaken, and I think that real in-time picture is an example, and I think what you can see now, the elevation of the black and white drawing, I think that would be it, and I think the windows would just not be there.
Correct.
I think I was mistaken on that.
Yeah,
Okay, so there won't be any windows at all? It's not that the windows will be blocked off. They just won't be there.
Correct.
Well, it looks, without anything, you know, it's a small building, but it's still all blank walls now.
Right, but it's just for storage.
It's for security equipment storage, so you don't want to have windows
Yeah.
for people to break in and steal their equipment.
Yeah, well,
And
It's
it's
you
only
know,
for
we're
public view,
about,
right?
we are about appearances.
I think another thing to note is this will not be visible from the public view, as Laura mentioned, so nobody's going to see this. This will tie into our discussion on revisions to the design review board process later on as well, that this is not going to be visible from the public view. So it's a process. We're just following procedure at this point. But like I said, this will be used for the crime lab, and therefore will be holding sensitive equipment, and it should not have windows for people to access the building any further than they can.
Jim, do you have a comment on this one?
Yeah, it's only a 4x4 shed, so, you know, if you put your hands side to side, it's mighty small building. I'm surprised something that small that they want to put there. I thought they would want something larger. But again, I did the lab here just a couple, well, weeks ago. We're going to find a big fence, and the fence is about 8 feet high, I think, overall. So I have no
All
problem with
right.
that.
I'm outnumbered.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then I'll
Okay,
motion to, go ahead.
I move to approve the shed as presented with no windows.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, this project has been approved.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, next on our agenda is 1 Calvert Street.
The applicant is coming before you today for approval of refacing the existing attached sign. 1 Calvert Street is located on Calvert Street, directly across from the Charles County Rescue Squad. It's 1.03 acres. It's a zoned commercial highway, and the use is a church. The sign criteria will be updated with the new name, La Plata Church of Christ. It will have a green background with gold accent writing. The sign will go in the existing flush mount, therefore it'll be the same exact size as the existing sign present today. The sign is not illuminated, and it will not be illuminated. The proposed sign is in compliance with the Community Design Guidelines, Chapter 191 of the Town Code, and staff recommends approval as from the application as presented.
All right, so we're just replacing an existing sign with new wordage, so nothing's
Correct.
changing in that
Correct.
aspect. Okay.
Yep.
Any other comments from the board?
Can I see the original sign, please?
I don't know if we have an image of the original sign, but
It's on Google Earth, so let me pull that up real quick.
I'm looking to Janine.
Where is it?
Janine, if you just Google it, it comes right up. I'm not even on Google Earth and I can see it.
There it is.
Okay. So it's different words and a reversal of colors. Okay.
same words, just different fonts,
Yeah.
and it is a green background instead of white.
Okay.
I think it looks
Okay,
better.
green
The new one.
background. Does it match the shutters?
No.
Mm-mm.
Well, that sign really should have matched the shutters, in my opinion.
I think that that will be forthcoming. I think they're trying to do a revamp of this, but I cannot be for certain. I think this is the beginning of their process.
Okay.
The applicant has indicated that the church is having, that people are essentially missing the church because it's all blending. So that's why they chose to go with the colors and the fact that it's a square instead of like a funky, essentially like a cutout sign. They chose that this is a more prominent and identifying appearance. So they really feel that this brings the entire building together and it's much more inviting as it looks professional.
Correct.
Oops.
Yeah, well, I guess so. I don't know. I don't know if it'll be more inviting, but if that's what they want to do, I guess I'm okay with it. Anybody else comment on this one?
Yeah, I think it looks very nice.
Yeah, I think it's definitely an upgrade. It does make the building
Yeah.
I
look a
agree.
little more professional.
I agree. I think this is an improvement over the previous sign.
Okay.
I motion to approve this project as presented.
I'll second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. This project has been approved as presented.
Thank
All
you.
right. You're welcome. Next on our list is the 6685 Crain Highway. It's Panda Express. I guess it's the site of the former Sonic.
The applicant is seeking design review board approval for an exterior renovation of the 2,404 square foot building with signage and drive-through canopy. The site is located in the southbound side of Crain Highway at the intersection of Port Tobacco Road and Crain Highway at the old Sonic. It's Zone CH, and there are many components that they're touching on here. The architectural design, it's going to really come together. So the massing, there'll be minor facade updates to match the corporate branding of the Panda Express. Wood panel cornices will be added to the existing parapets. Black and white paint will cover the existing earth-toned panels. There'll be more of an emphasis on the main and side entrances with new outdoor patio canopies. This building setup will remain the same as the previous Sonic. The side entrance and main entrances will have canopies with subtle lighting. This will serve as a sense of security and help with wayfinding of the building, distinguishing the entrances, and helping with weather protection for patrons. The awnings will be an iron ore in color to match the roof and accent the building itself. As far as facade transparency, the existing building has ground floor windows for views into the interior. This upgrade and update will have some infill for the purpose of masking the unsightly kitchen operations that no one really wants to see. The building would be on the building that would normally be visible. This building was designed for flexibility to accommodate the changes that could and would have happened over time. And we're seeing that right now as it's minimizing and helping with the renovation costs as changing from Sonic to Panda Express. The roof form. The roof has variations in roof lines to add interest and appeal and reduce from the massive scale of the large commercial building that it could be seen as. The roof closely resembles the adjacent shopping center and enhances the character of the building while still giving it its distinct unifying profile. The existing rooftop screening will be used, however, it will be updated to a new HVAC units and it will be from the same manufacturer. The existing materials for the building and the existing materials from the building will be left for most part. There will be minor facade color updates to match the corporate Panda Express trademark colors. The wood panel cornices with wood tones will be added to the existing parapets. The drive-through canopy will be all steel and meet all state local building code requirements. This canopy would have a 10-foot clearance bar and be an illuminated menu board. The colors of the components, other than the trademark colors, will be spiced rum and a brushed aluminum, which will also blend and be cohesive with the existing colors proposed and the colors proposed. The restaurant will have outdoor seating. This will be a great option for this location. The outdoor seating is located on the rear of the building, so there'll be, ideally, there will not be as much traffic or noise hindrance while patrons are dining outside. The existing dumpster screening will remain and be updated to also match the building and the updated colors. All signs will be illuminated and have the 3 primary trademark colors of Panda Express: reflective white, black, and cardinal red. The 4 directional signs will help identify the restaurant, and the circular shape is not too harsh with the trademark logo and the colors. The provided lighting design does provide LED illumination. That's wrong in my staff report. The LED is 60 watts, which would be cold white and not produce any excessive or unwanted light pollution, hindering any passing motorists. The site design and architectural plans are in compliance with the community design guidelines and Chapter 191 of the Town Code. Staff recommends approval as presented.
Okay. Questions, comments, concerns from the board?
Just out of curiosity, the outdoor seating, it indicated that it would be in the back of the building. Is that towards the church? Is that towards the more south on 301 end?
Or where the existing outdoor
seating is? Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
It's where the existing seating is.
Mm-hmm. Okay. That was my question. Why they already had existing seating? Were they going to change it or not? So okay.
Yeah, where the letter A is here on this overview.
Right.
Okay. I'm just glad it's not going to be an empty building on the corner for years.
Agreed.
And I think it actually ties in well with Starbucks across on the other corner in terms of colors. And if it looks like the one, in terms of the branding of the one in Waldorf, I mean, it looks very nice. It's clean, it's classy. I think it'll be a nice addition to that corner versus an empty building.
Right. I just wish there was some way we could have a better access. Their entrances are really what hinders that location.
Mm-hmm.
So that's been discussed with the Planning Commission, and they will have to go to the Board of Appeals for an amendment to their special exception, which is forthcoming. So at the last, as you know, out there on the site, they did allow for the right in, right out on Route 6, as well as the right in, right out on Crain Highway. And that's the maximum extent that you can do on that site with state highway approval.
Well, that is my point. I mean, it's that location, it's just, I feel badly for anyone, any business that's there. It's so limited in their entrance and exits that, the access for them is limited.
Yes.
Are you saying that the entrance is going to be, the Route 6 entrance is going to be between Crain Highway and Ace Hardware?
Yes.
Yes.
It's staying the way it is, correct, right now?
Yeah.
It's
Janine,
staying the way that it is.
I'm surprised the state highway would allow that. They're always trying to avoid backups when we have turn-ins like that. And that's going to back up traffic on 301.
Yeah,
so
because
they did
added
extensive traffic studies on that to ensure that the level of service would not decrease. And they did show that Panda Express would actually produce less traffic during the morning peak hours than Sonic did, since they don't open until later in the mid-morning.
Afternoon.
So it is something that the State Highway has reviewed multiple times. And that was with the State Highway's approval. So they added this right out onto 6 in 2019 into 2020.
Okay,
Right before Sonic closed.
I predict we're gonna get backups. Okay,
I don't think.
they
Well,
approved
staying with
it,
the design of
so,
the building, I think it looks very nice. It's
Yeah.
modern, clean, and it's gonna be really cool.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree.
I think the limiting factor of not having a right out on Route 6 actually hindered Sonic and impacted their capability for customers. And they didn't have a chance to live with it very long. When they put that right out in there, they closed down pretty soon after that. So,
Well, I think that they knew that it was going downhill and they wanted to get that right out onto 6 in order to be able to market the building and sell it.
wise move, wise move.
Mhm.
okay,
Looks fine to me. I don't have any difficulties.
yeah, it does look nice.
Well, I make a motion to approve the project as presented.
I second.
All of those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. This project has been approved as presented.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Next up is University of Maryland Charles Regional Medical Center, the hospital campus zone.
All right, so this one is me, and this is a little different than what we normally do, but this was a condition of the Planning Commission and Town Council approval for a zoning and map text amendment for the hospital located on Garrett Avenue. So this is a proposed hospital campus overlay zone, which is being added to the town code and will be amended on the official zoning map. And as part of the conditions of approval from the Planning Commission into the Town Council, they were asked to provide a common sign plan as an update to their master site sign plan, excuse me, that was previously approved, and to provide their own architectural guidelines to guide the development in the hospital campus overlay zone. So that is what we're presenting this morning with the zoning text amendment for common sign plan approval and review and approval of architectural guidelines for the hospital campus zone. Staff is recommending approval as presented, as this has been reviewed by the Planning Commission and the Town Council, and the guidelines are following the previous approvals from the University of Maryland Hospital that has come before the Design Review Board multiple times. So the hospital campus zone is going to comprise a large area ranging from Oak Avenue across Charles Street over to Wycomico and Somerset. I can bring up an overall map here in a minute. The underlying zone for those areas is central business, and then there are a few residential properties that are included for the hospital to expand to their maximum boundary. So in the existing master sign plan was approved on August 6th of 2014. And we did have an architectural review for their emergency room addition that was approved on March 11th of 2020. So the hospital is coming forward with their zoning text amendment. We've shown that they have been a major economic facilitator in the town for many years. And so the town council has been working with them to create a hospital campus zone. This was created within the 2020 comprehensive plan as well as something that the town needed to complete. So it's been quite a long process to get this to fruition, and we are nearing the end of the process with their zoning text amendment and map amendment approval. The let's see here. So on July 6th of 2021, the Planning Commission reviewed the zoning text amendment and recommended that a common sign plan and architectural guidelines were submitted for review and approval by the Design Review Board in conjunction with the Planning Commission and Town Council review of the zoning text amendment and map amendment. So first I'll get into the common sign plan and the requirements based on the town code. So for their common elements, they have chosen materials, color scheme, lighting, and lettering. Under the applicant's proposed sign plan, temporary signage shall be permitted with owner approval and in accordance with the town code, of course. All non-compliant signs will be brought into compliance, as well as the amount and location of on-premise signage to be allocated to each tenant under this plan. The applicant has stated that any existing non-compliant signs, again, will be brought into compliance. So for the site, the maximum attached building signage is 450 square feet in accordance with the town code at the current time. And the common sign plan proposal is in compliance with the town code and the central business community design guidelines. So staff would recommend approval of that. And then next I will show you, here is the overall site map of the site. So all of the properties in red are proposed to be under this new hospital campus zone. The properties over here on the eastern side along Somerset are residentially zoned at this point, R8 zone. The rest is central business, and we did have some residential properties on this side that the hospital has purchased in the past and have demolished any of the existing residences on. And then it does extend across the street to where the hospital does own some adjacent land currently being utilized for parking, and then there are some buildings on this site over here. For the architectural guidelines, staff worked with the applicant to look at past approvals in order to come up with their baseline for the architectural design guidelines. And it was mainly based off of the most recent emergency room approval that they received in 2020. So the site area of the total site is just over 16 acres. And they get into some background and goals for the hospital within their guidelines. And then they lay this out with their building materials, massing, entrances, roof form, exterior lighting, sense of place, fences and walls, and then of course their common sign plan that will be included as part of this. So for the building materials, they're showing the approved materials that have been utilized in the past, including concrete, brick, metal, and thermoplastic polyolefin, TPO. And then approved colors with the hospital color scheme of white, red, gray, tan, silver, black, and white. They get into their existing exterior building materials and what has been approved previously in line with the overall hospital. And so they go through each element, including the roof and the materials that would be permitted within the designs. For massing, they do reiterate the effect of delineating a base, middle, and top, which is consistent with the existing building, utilizing different materials to provide pattern, rhythm, and proportion for visual interest, and creating the multi-story effect with lower roof heights adjacent to residentially zoned properties. The entrances, utilizing canopies over entryways, designed for accessibility, since they are a hospital and they need to make sure that they're accessible for their patrons, including wayfinding signage and others to be subject to the common sign plan, and appropriate lighting to ensure adequate lighting into the building and to draw the eye to where everyone needs to enter the building. Again, getting into roof form and the varying roof heights, making sure that there's some visual interest to the site. They do have a flat roof design, which they would like to continue in line with the existing building. Looking at exterior lighting, utilizing recessed lighting, wall lighting, entrance and landscape lighting in order to make sure that the site is adequately lit for pedestrian safety. They also talk about their sense of place and utilizing design elements to identify as a hospital healthcare facility within their campus, creating an attractive, environmentally friendly, warm, and welcoming environment for patients, visitors, and employees, and making sure that everything is clean and consistent with their standards for their hospital campus. For fences and walls, they have existing fencing, which will be the base for new approvals by staff. So fences and walls can have materials such as vinyl, steel, aluminum, or treated wood, and all of the colors shall be neutral, including brown, white, tan, black, or gray. So those are the overview of their guidelines. The idea is to have the design review board approve these, and any future submissions would be approvable by staff. If anything were to stray from this, then that would take into consideration needing Board of Appeal or a design review board approval. But based on the Planning Commission and Town Council guidance, they wanted to have this to make it a little bit more flexible and easier for the hospital to continue with their development. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have of me, and we do have the applicant if you have any questions of them.
Well,
Questions?
it does look like they put in quite an effort, to match the new buildings with the existing, so that it looks more like it all was built at the same time. So I didn't spot any problem areas, but as I said, I didn't give it an extensive review either. Anybody else?
Has there been any thought? Has there been any thought from the applicant about massing on the site as they move forward within those new parameters that they have?
You said massing on the site?
Just basically where they would hope to expand to next, in what direction on the site. I guess basically what I'm hinting at is I would like to see more of an engagement with the Charles Street side of the site, so that we can continue our walkability of the town further down toward the hospital, engaging that in with part of the town and helping it not feel like it's quite so suburban once you get to the hospital.
Okay, you're asking.
I think aesthetically, though. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, so you're asking about their proposed plans for across Charles Street?
Yeah, I didn't even know if they've gotten to that thinking yet, but I guess I'm just throwing that out there as a desire and hope for this campus. I think it's a wonderful idea. Aesthetically, I think what they have in mind looks great. The building already looks great, and it's a wonderful asset for our town. And
so this is Matt Martin. I represent the hospital. I can answer your question generally speaking. So there's actually two answers, as Ms. Harrington pointed out. There is plans for a future office building across the street that would energize the area where the towns are right now. And in terms of, adding attractive landscapes and streetscapes to Charles Street, that would definitely accomplish that. That's probably realistically, I'd say 5 years out. In terms of the hospital expansion itself, the way the site's laid out and the way the ambulance entrance is and the loading dock is, there's some rework that needs to occur. So, Ms. Harrington, if you can put your cursor a little bit to the left, right, a little for that side of the building right there, pretty much go up. Yeah, right. So the left side of the building there, where the generators are, that's primarily, that's kind of the area where sort of just short of the generators. That's probably the most logical location for an increased building massing. So while it doesn't necessarily give you the energy along Charles Street, you would definitely see it from Charles Street. So it would make the hospital look bigger, wider, and more active, if and when that expansion occurs. And that's also probably, 5 years out or so. Currently, the most pressing project is the remodel of the emergency department and the behavioral health wing, which is going to be going out towards Somerset and Wycomico. So did that and that's not a huge addition. The bigger, larger addition that's probably 10 years down the road is the part that would go out sort of towards the left of the building.
I think it does answer my question. But again, I'm just reiterating, as a member of the design review board, my desire for what I see in the town, Charles Street being the town's main street. Right now, the hospital campus feels very suburban, and it would be nice for it to feel more in keeping with what a town is. But having said that, though, what was presented today is very nice, and aesthetically, I think it's a very nice, very beautiful building.
And to your other comment, we are looking at plans to figure out ways to re-energize that Charles Street entrance at some point. So I think that piece of it would definitely help with your project.
Wonderful, thank you.
Yeah, this is the next step before they can really get into doing a lot of the development that they want to do, is getting this hospital campus zone in place, getting these design guidelines and common sign plan in place. This is going to give them the base to be able to continue their development and doing along the lines of what you were talking about. So
well said. Thank you, Ms. Harrington.
Well, this is wonderful. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions from the board? Comments? Nope. Okay. Then I'll make a motion or move to approve the common sign plan and the hospital campus zone design guidelines as presented here today.
I will second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. Then I move to make this project has been approved.
Thank you very much for the committee's consideration and your approvals. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Next on our agenda is the design review board process and scope.
okay. So this is the kind of beginning conversation. I wanted to bring this before the design review board today to get input, feedback, comments. This is really your opportunity to let me know what edits you have. I did take this proposal for a design review board scope and process revision to the town council at their October 19th meeting, and the town council agreed that we should move forward with the proposal and made the comment that just to make sure that there was no ambiguity with certain items. So overall, staff is looking to create an easier, more streamlined process for the design review board. And again, this ties into our conversation with some of these other projects. With this new process, only one project would have been on the agenda for today. The rest would have been able to be reviewed administratively and approved, saving a lot of time for the applicant and staff as well as the board. So with this administrative process addition, there would be three main elements. There's certain items that would not need any approval. There's items that could be approved administratively by staff, and then still items that would require design review board approval. I looked at different examples, and one of them was the City of Alexandria had some historical architectural guidelines that laid out this three-step process for reviews. And I did send this to the La Plata Business Association and asked them to provide some input, feedback before I took this to the town council. So they did provide me with some comments about liking the overall concept, agreeing that, you know, having an approved color palette list and the review for, or the non-review for temporary signs would be beneficial. And they did make a few more comments about franchise or corporate locations, and then some others that have already been addressed with some of the changes that we've been making. So with that, I'm asking the Design Review Board to review the proposal and to make any comments or edits for the consideration by the town council. This will require a change to Chapter 16 in the town code. And so what I've done is I've kind of provided an overview on the agenda. You'll see the Design Review Board process 2021 draft. And then I also started to revise the design guidelines for your consideration. There's still a lot more work that needs to be done with this, but I wanted to bring it to you early on to get your feedback, to have you take a look at it, give me your thoughts, your edits on some of the elements, including the approved color list, the approved sign designs, and just generally your thoughts on the content of the revised guidelines. So as I noted, we're proposing 3 different levels of review within the central business transition, and commercial highway zones. So for anything that didn't require approval would be minor elements to buildings, such as chimney caps, roof drain elements, storm windows, storm doors, dish antenna, security cameras, security lights. We already have the provision about public art not needing Design Review Board approval. We are having them work with our Keep Will Play a Beautiful team on any public art. Changes in paint color in accordance with the appendix for an approved paint scheme. So if there's a building such as with Taco Bell that's going from tan to white, we feel that that should be something that they can do without having to go through a lot of hoops. Seasonal decorations, we've already addressed that as well, where with holiday lighting. Obviously, this doesn't include anything such as inflatables or distracting devices, but seasonal holiday lights could be used, and we're already kind of doing that. Repair or replacements in kind, that is already in the process as well. So if you're just maintaining a sign and refreshing it with the same color, same lettering, same everything, it doesn't need approval. And then we get down into the administrative approval, and this could be for awnings, attached lighting for existing building, accessibility structures such as ADA ramps that need to be in compliance with the Americans with Disabilities Act, attached signage. As we noted today with a lot of these signs, they're very, as long as they're within the guidelines and they're following the color schemes and with the trademark logos, I feel that it's something that staff can review and approve without having to go through a month-long process with Design Review Board. We could also look at fencing and fencing color as long as it's in compliance with the overall scheme of the building and with pre-approved materials. Sheds, as we noted with the Kent Avenue project, that one in particular isn't visible from the public right of way and is used for securing items for the crime lab as well. And then miscellaneous could be franchise corporate locations. We already look at landscaping and mechanical equipment within reason. And then, of course, the Design Review Board would be all new construction, including scale, fenestration, roof pitch, detailing, color, and building materials, same as we do today. Still looking at common sign plans to lay the base for staff review on those. And then you would also look at any projects that want to deviate from the pre-approved sign design or pre-approved paint color list, or if it's something that staff feels that should be reviewed by the Design Review Board based on the complexity. So I did start to go through and provide basic guidelines for administrative review. Obviously, this is very basic at this point, and I haven't had a chance to really go in and make, you can see that there's some editorial edits. This one's still mentioning a different municipality, so I need to go in and fix those. And then I took the existing design guidelines and reformatted them to fit in with the new process for the design review board. This still needs pictures, examples, explanations. So none of that has been done at this point before I review forward. But the ones I really want you to look at are the appendices. So we previously brought shingle signs to the design review board as part of a mini grant that we received to get pre-approval for shingle signs. And I thought I'd expand upon that and create basic templates that applicants could use if they wanted to use these to put up signage with a sign permit without requiring design review board. They're in line with past approvals and past past sign comments that we've received before. They would be very basic with either black or white text or background with matching vinyl or metal posts. Even got into the specific type of post cap. So again, this is where I'm looking for your input. If you have any suggestions, edits, if you think that there's a different type of sign or anything else that should be included in here. And then for Appendix B, pre-approved paint schemes. So really, if anything's following, the neutral tones, they wouldn't need to get design review board approval based on a pre-approved paint scheme. And I saw an example which I attached to this agenda for an HOA that had this same type of pre-approved paint scheme. And I really like the way that they laid it out to give people options, but still keeping it within the guidelines and keeping a neutral palette for basic items that people could choose from. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to see if there's any questions, comments, or if you have any input at this point.
I think you should keep a running list of like an index of all of the projects that you've approved administratively, so we can keep track of it to see if it starts to get out of hand and maybe needs to come back to the board.
Oh, yes, we will absolutely keep a list of all of the administratively reviewed projects. And as part of my planning department updates, that would be something that I would be adding to that to give you an idea of what we have reviewed and approved, as well as what it looks like. So that would definitely be something that I would bring to every meeting to update you on.
Okay. That's the only comment I have. Looks like you got a lot of work ahead of you again.
Can I ask a very blunt and direct question?
Yes.
Is this a step in the phasing out of the DRB?
No. No, this is, we recognize that we created the design review board, and there is a very useful place for the architectural review, especially with new construction. Buildings that are being put up, we want to have that initial review and approval by the design review board in compliance with the town code and guidelines. We just feel that there are certain items that do not need that level of review. And again, I think that today was a very good example that we had a lot of signage that, there wasn't a lot of comments on. There was no issues with. Staff had recommended approval and they were approved in compliance with the guidelines. So I feel that the applicants, when they submit for a sign permit, in some of these instances, it's with an existing building, there's an existing common sign plan or an existing pre-approved, kind of design for that building. And when they come in, they submit their sign permit application and we say, oh, well, you have to wait a month because we have to take you to the design review board. There's certain elements as far as, with a new shopping center, when they have a giant, monument detached sign that they're proposing, that needs design review board, absolutely. But if they're refacing a sign or redoing a sign at a minimal level, I feel that staff can handle that in that review and proceeding forward with their sign permit in a more timely manner.
Yeah, I do understand the streamline of signage, especially when they have the master sign plan. That makes sense. I was just curious as to what the future may hold for the DRB. That's all.
Oh yeah, no, we absolutely find the benefit to having the design review board. And we're not looking to phase you out by any means whatsoever. I just feel that there's certain smaller items that staff can take care of to streamline the process a little bit.
Agreed.
And I think like what Mr. Bobbin you addressed, as long as we get to kind of see an overview of what had been approved in the past without us seeing it, I'd be okay with that.
Absolutely. That is something that, like I said, I've already noted that we would provide that update with every design review board meeting. And that way, if you had any questions or concerns as we were going, we could address that as soon as possible.
Mm-hmm.
I might add comment about being very careful about materials that are listed within, such as vinyl, for example. It's a very cheap material, and I don't mean to be to be harsh on the affordability of the material. I'm talking about the aesthetics of the material. It's meant to mimic painted wood, but it's shiny. It just, again, talking about the aesthetics, it doesn't look quite as good. So if there could be language maybe taking out the actual material name of vinyl and just saying if it's a painted finish, a white painted finish material, trying to be more vague in that regard, I guess. I would prefer not to see a bunch of vinyl signs or posts, I mean, and fences.
Okay, we can definitely note that for the, and I mean, and also if you guys, if you want to send me your, you have a copy of the draft guidelines. If you wanted to provide edits that you want to see, please do that and send those to me so we can compile those and take a look at it. That's why I wanted to make sure that you had a copy. That's why I sent it via email as well after uploading it to the agenda, so you had a copy. Because I really do want your input on the pre-approved paint schemes and the pre-approved kind of sign designs, that if you see something that you think would work or doesn't work, we want to make sure that we capture that, because and again, this is why I'm coming to you ahead of time, is you are setting the tone for what staff is going to be reviewing and approving for certain items. So this will really be your input, so that we have the guiding document to perform these lower level reviews without having to come to you on a monthly basis.
Yeah, I appreciate that, and I agree with this idea, and I think it's wonderful. What timetable do you need from us so far as returning comments?
As soon as you can. I don't have an actual running timeline. Obviously, I'm trying to get this wrapped up because I have a lot of other things on my plate, and the sooner I can get this off my desk, the better off I'll be. My next step is to revise Chapter 16, which needs to go to the Town Council for discussion, introduction, and then adoption. So really, this isn't going to happen until towards the end of December, beginning of January. So if you could get me anything by say the next design review board meeting, that would be very beneficial on my part. So that would be December 14th.
Okay.
That would kind of be like my deadline if I could.
All right.
Okay.
Great. I think this is a great idea.
Anyone have anything else for the benefit of today, or otherwise, like I said, I will bring this back to the December 14th meeting. And if you could send me your comments or edits prior to, I can make sure to include those when I bring it back, and we can take another look as a group.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Planning department updates.
Okay. So for today, we don't have any proposed upcoming projects at this point. As you can see, we kind of got everybody in today. So at this point, we don't have any new submissions proposed for December, although that may change, and I'll certainly keep everyone updated. For matters of information, we have a lot going on the back end, working on our development review manual, permit preparation manual, again, looking at our design review board process and revising Chapter 16 in line with this new process. Just to let everyone know that the town did receive a grant of upwards of, I guess it's $328,000 for the bikeway pedestrian path that goes from Roswick Road down Radio Station Road to La Plata Road down to Charles Street, and it goes all the way down into downtown. So this is going to be a huge project for the town to make sure that we are increasing our pedestrian and bike path ability. Right now, we, as you kind of noted, David, that we have some pedestrian complications in our downtown, and making sure that we're providing a safe, comfortable environment for those that want to utilize our sidewalks and paths. So this will be a huge project for us. Right now, we're in the design phase. We have contracted with Mead and Hunt to do the initial design work. And then moving forward with construction, probably not for a year or so. And then on top of that, I also am doing several code revisions just to make sure that we're staying on top of current standards. I'm looking at a form-based code that would apply to just the downtown core. It wouldn't even be the central business zone. It is just for that kind of sustainable community area that we did our 2016 ULI study on. Kind of goes Washington Avenue from Charles Street to North Maple Avenue and up to kind of where Talbot Street is. It's that kind of middle area. We've been looking to redevelop that area for a long time, but our current code does not provide the flexibility needed to kind of create that redevelopment urban town center. So I'm going to be looking at a form-based code as a template to use in just that area to promote redevelopment. We're still working on sign code. We have sent that to the La Plata Business Association for review, and then I'll be bringing that back once we've kind of got all the comments and revisions addressed. I'm looking at Chapter 117, Health and Sanitation, looking at creating an adequate public facilities ordinance to look at school seats, roads, water, sewer, all of those elements. Looking at revising Chapter 173, which is our subdivision chapter, along with streets and sidewalks and waters and sewers. So all of those are in my to-do list to get updated to incorporate complete street initiatives, make sure that we're utilizing Charles County's design standards and specifications for pipes, road networks. So there's a lot of work that's going to be going into that. Really, the sign code is the one that's going to be affecting the design review board directly, and the rest kind of inadvertently with streets and sidewalks, those types of things will play into the overall design of the downtown. And that's all I have for today, unless you have any questions for me.
Do those grant monies include abilities to improve aesthetics within the our little downtown area, so far as paving materials and street lighting and stuff like that, or is that not included?
No, that's not included in this, but I will say that we have the mayor is working to try and get us as a full Main Street member. And if we can get that accomplished, that will open us up to a lot of what you're talking about.
Yes, perfect, okay. Thank you so much. This is very exciting. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Janine.
A big to-do list.
Lastly, yes, she does have she's got a lot on her list, on her plate.
It's a very big list.
Okay, council updates.
Yes, we actually had a meeting last night, and we had a chance to meet with Roderick Lewis, who's a field representative for our office of Senator Ben Cardin. He introduced himself. offered his help and things we might need, and also down the line for funding, which, knowing the mayor, she's going to take advantage of that as much as possible. We also had a presentation by the chief, police chief, on law enforcement accreditation. We are already accredited, and we're the smallest police force in the country that is accredited already. And now we're in the process for the re-accreditation. So they're doing the paperwork and the reviews on that. We have the ARPA funding. We have half of it already presented to us. That requires a lot of control and management of the funds to make sure they're not improperly utilized. And it was recommended by the comptroller that we actually hire someone who is experienced in doing that and is doing other places to do that on our behalf. And the council approved that as well. So we'll hire a company to monitor that for us, because if we make a mistake, it can cost us. It can be fined and everything else. And, you know, government regulations, they change as we go along, it seems like, and you got to be on top of all those changes. We also discussed the idea of setting up fees for people who want to utilize the town La Plata physical area to hold walks, runs, other activities in which we have to spend time with the police force and public works to cover those. And so far, we've not been reimbursed for it. We're looking at the idea of charging a fee to accommodate the expenses for the police officers monitoring it, as well as the public works. And most organizations, large organizations, are prepared for that and have not indicated a problem. But that is being looked at this point in time. The Armory on 14 Hawthorne Drive, the old Armory over there, we did a zoning change on that to allow it to be reutilized in a different way. We've got roads paving that's taking place throughout the town, and a lot of it's been completed already. And we had been invited to attend the National First Responders Day. Those were the key activities or key things we discussed over the past month. Any questions of anybody?
No.
No.
No questions.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. And then that wraps up our agenda. Are there any other questions or comments from the board? I will move to adjourn this meeting.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks for covering.
Welcome. Oh, not a problem.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Good to see you.
Have a good day.
Bye.
All right, you got everything you need, Craig?
I think so.
All right, thank you.